Hello everyone, today I decided I'm going to watch the A Better Tomorrow Trilogy. One after the other, doing my little review in between. Now the trilogy in general, because I haven't seen it, obviously I wouldn't be doing one of these reviews if I've already seen the movie. I'm under the impression the first two are great, and then the third movie, which they did kind of a little bit later on, it sucks, apparently. That's from what I've heard. So I'm not directly comparing, but I think it's kind of sort of like the Godfather trilogy in the sense that the first one was great and amazing, and then the second one was just absolutely took the first one to an even more amazing level. And then the third one they did a little bit later on and is nowhere near as good as the first two. So that's the sort of arc I'm expecting from these films. But I don't know if it's true. That's just what I've heard in general. So I'm really excited to watch this specifically for the first two movies because they're both directed. The first two are directed by John Woo, who is one of my favorite directors. I can't wait to see. It's so exciting when it's like you already have a director and you really love his style, and he's like they are like your favorite director just from the content you've seen from them, and then you're like, oh, here's a movie I haven't seen by them, and you have that excitement of, ooh, is it gonna be really good, really bad? I don't know. Will you still enjoy it? And it's really exciting. So, a lot of my favorite directors, there's still films I haven't seen by them and all that. So, I'm super excited to watch some John Woo films. Okay. Now, the films I've seen by John Woo is The Killer, Hard Boiled, Face Off, and all three amazing, great action films. Love them. Dubbing was a little bit funny in Hard Boiled. Bullshit. But you generally get problems with that with dubbing and all that in general. So now the Better Tomorrow trilogy, there is no English dub. It is going to be the original audio with subtitles, English subtitles. And that's the way I'm going to watch it. So, here I go. I'm about to watch A Better Tomorrow trilogy. My expectation for the first one, crime, action, and John Woo. That's all I'm expecting. So, here I go. Time to watch A Better Tomorrow. I don't know if it's part one. It's probably just called A Better Tomorrow. So, time to watch A Better Tomorrow. Man, I just watched A Better Tomorrow, the first one, and wow. Really good. Man. Once again, in the first 25 minutes of the movie, I remember why I love John Woo as a director. Just script-wise and the way he paces the action scenes and story and all that, and then, really great. Loved it. I believe this is before Hard Boiled, and I'm not sure if it was before or after The Killer. But, so I do know it's very early John Woo, or not very early, but early John Woo. Lots of action. I'm not going to spoil anything. I'm not going to talk about spoilers until after I watch the full trilogy, so that way I give a non-spoiler review for the first three films. And first one was really good. So, if you like action, crime, and all that. And if you've seen any of other John Woo films and enjoy those films, but I definitely would recommend checking out A Better Tomorrow. The first one. I don't know about the second. Third one, that second one's going to be next. Obviously, I'm not going to be watching out of order, but even though I'm not spoiling anything, I just say it was a really shocking moment I definitely want to talk about later on. Until then, I'm just saying I love the music was amazing. Everything was just great about the film. I mean, there was some little bit of the editing was a little bit not choppy per se, but there was like a little bit of it definitely a little bit was tweaked, and a little bit of the age kind of shows through, and it was neat seeing a little bit of 80s Hong Kong. I believe that's where they were for most of the film, and then it's just neat seeing older films in different places because it's being filmed around that time, and it's just interesting. But yeah, I really love the story. Definitely love the drama aspect of it. And that's the thing about John Woo. It's not all action. There is that emotional, dramatic side to it and all that, and I think it's handled quite beautifully. So now I'm gonna watch A Better Tomorrow 2. I think that's the name of it. I don't think it's called Part 2 or anything like that. I think it's just called 2. So, A Better Tomorrow 2. There I go. Well, I just watched the second A Better Tomorrow, and it was really good. There was a lot of it that happened in it that I was not expecting to happen, especially the direction it went. I still think I like the first one just a little bit better, just because structurally, I think is best so far out of all of them is the first one. It's just, it seems this one was a little more divided because of the direction it took, and there's a couple of things that they chose to do that it sort of took the seriousness a little bit out of it, but it still tried to stay as serious as possible for a crime drama. And now it looks like I'm on the third one. Third one they did a couple years later, and John Woo did not direct it. So I'm not sure if John Woo had anything to do with the third one, but I'm gonna find out. Second one was good. Enjoyed it. Once again, great action scenes. Spread out for the most part. A lot of unexpected choices that I think really worked well. But definitely took me off guard because I wasn't expecting the stuff that I did see. So, yeah, and I'll talk about that later on. So, time to watch A Better Tomorrow 3. Well, I just watched A Better Tomorrow 3. And it is so bad. How bad is it? It's so bad. I feel like rewatching the first two just to see if I can forget this movie. I feel like watching a different movie right afterwards just to get my mind off of that movie. Oh man, there's so many things they did. So many bad decisions they made in that movie. I'm usually not one for recommending movies and being like, no, do not watch this film. I usually never say that because, some people like certain movies and all that, and you won't really know until you give a movie a chance and watch it and formulate your own opinions. A Better Tomorrow free, I would recommend a pass. That's the first movie I would recommend to totally pass. If you plan on watching A Better Tomorrow, just watch the first two and then that's it. Don't watch the third one. Unless you really want to see what the hell they did. And then analyze from that production's mistakes and what not to do with a trilogy. Slowly making my way into spoiler territory. My unboxing of the box set for A Better Tomorrow, after seeing all three movies, I will say yes, the images in the set that's used does contain spoilers. And some of the shots are from like the ending part of the scene and all that. So if you do watch me unbox the trilogy, I didn't know they were spoilers, and they ended up being spoilers. So starting off with the very first movie, the biggest friggin' surprise, which was so shockingly well done, was I was saying his name right, Chow Yun-fat's character. What was his name? Mark. Hey, I actually remembered a character's name for once. Okay, so Mark, he very shockingly gets shot and then killed. Which I was not expecting, because when I opened up the package for A Better Tomorrow trilogy, I saw him on all three, like that actor, and I assume him playing that exact same character, was on all three. He's on the first one, he's on the cover for the second one, and he's on the cover for the third one. So I was like, okay, I knew for a fact going into the first movie, I'm like, he's gonna survive. He's not going to get killed. And then he gets killed off. And that was the big shocker, because I was like, how is he in the second and third movie? I mean, the first one was a little more structurally better, but both of them were brilliant, just in the way they were handled and what they accomplished, and the whole arcing story for both of them. First two, great. So the surprise, because he died, the second movie, it turns out he had a twin brother, and who's currently in America right now. And that's one of the shocking elements of the second movie, because I thought all three movies would take place in Hong Kong and China and Asia in general. I didn't expect them to go to North America, let alone go to New York. And it's just funny, because having a character, it's like the director. This is what I imagine the planning process went for A Better Tomorrow 2. He was like, I really like Chow Yun-fat. I really want this that cast him in the second one, but the thing is, his character died in the first one. Oh, what will I do? Wait a minute. I can just say he had a twin brother. There you go. You're playing a totally different character, but he's related to him, and that's why they look the same. I think it's kind of brilliant and kind of funny at the same time, which is a little unfortunate, because the second movie, because of a decision like that, kind of made it less serious. Like, it was still a serious movie, and it was still drama, crime, action, but that sort of little decision, if you can get past that little decision, it's I mean, when I think about it, it's kind of scripting wise, I found it funny, but they still tried to make it serious, and they do pull off serious. So, and then after that concluded, the third movie, they decided, because I mean, John Woo at this point didn't want to do a third one, I assumed, or something like that, or he was going to do the third one, but then the studio, or he had disagreement with the studio, and then left it or something. I don't know the story behind it. I should research that before actually just speaking about it. But John Woo has nothing to do with the third one. I didn't see him in any of the credits. Someone else directed it, and that person who directed the third one also wrote it. So the decision, after having two really well done crime action stories evolving around those three characters from the four or five characters from the first two movies, they decided for the third one they'll go back and do a prequel, and it's gonna we're gonna have no one else from the original cast, just except for Chow Yun-fat, and that's why he's in the third movie. So the whole story sort of revolves around him, and instead of take place in Hong Kong and keeping it level and having a good script from that, they decided, because they went back 12 years from, it was 86 or 88, somewhere around there the first two movies take place, and 12 years before that it's 1974, which is Vietnam War, so they decided to have it in Vietnam. It starts off with him entering Vietnam, and then there's a whole lot of them, and then they leave, go back to Hong Kong, and then go back to Vietnam. It was a really a whole bunch of bad decisions, and it just all piled up. It was very hard to sit through the film knowing how good the first two is and being like, what were they thinking with the third one? At least with, I guess for some reason I was thinking Pirates of the Caribbean 3, they did a really good job. It's connected to all three, though you may not like how it goes, and some of it may be confusing, and you can kind of view it as bad as the first three films. It was nowhere near as bad as, say, this movie. Like, this sequel, the third one, it's like, wow. Once again, John Woo's style is often imitated, never duplicated.
John Woo. This is my sort of style, is I always love making references to movies. I always like trying to copy what they did with lower budget.
And you can really tell. Some of the action stuff was either totally ridiculous or was literally not well thought through and not well it was executed decently, but just planning of what's going to happen for the action scenes was not really thought out, and the pacing of the movie, I think most of it was just a romance, the third one, compared to the first, because the first two had a really good mix of that drama, action, and just everything in general. Even editing wise was really good. Well, the third movie, it just kind of threw it out the window. It was like it didn't totally throw it out the window, but they were like, we need an excuse for action scenes, let's include Vietnam, so that way there's more weapons and soldiers and people to kill and stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, I'm actually, the third movie was such a disgrace. I feel like because I separate my Blu-rays in a very weird way right now, and I have it set up so the John Woo section, there's my favorite directors have a section where it has all their directed movies, and John Woo has the Trilogy box set, but the thing is, he didn't do the third movie. And the third movie's so bad, I'm like, I feel bad having it associated with the rest of his directed films that I have. So I would highly recommend, if you haven't seen the movies, and I've spoiled it at this point in the video, I would still recommend checking them out. If you like action, crime, and drama, check out the first two movies. Absolutely. Also, that's another thing. The Blu-ray, this is kind of a little bit of review for the Nova Media, because that's where I got this trilogy, because they haven't really released these movies in North America that I know of, or it's very hard to find. So I didn't really have a problem with the first two movies. Transfer-wise was great. overall, and then the second movie was also great. The second movie was also great overall. Subtitles I didn't have any problems with until the third movie. Now the third movie, the transfer, our Blu-ray or whatever, or it might have been the original source, but there was a lot of little film lines. It's definitely shown that this movie wasn't cared for as much as the first two. And the subtitles, there were several spots where I can clearly see that they misspelt. World, they spelt with two R's. Maybe they forgot the A in maybe. And so watching it for the first time, it kind of made me laugh a little bit. I think witness was also spelt wrong at one point. It's just it's like the people subtitling the third movie. Even they were like, "Oh, this is so hard to sit through and make sure every word is right." I want to know what you thought of A Better Tomorrow. I want to know what you thought of the first one, the second one, and if you're one of the few who've seen the third movie, I'm curious to see what you guys thought of it. I thought it was really bad, but I definitely really enjoyed the first two movies. Can't wait to track down more of John Woo's work. Hopefully they release more of his work on Blu-ray, especially in North America. Anyways, so thank you very much for watching. Have a nice day or night or whatever time you watch this. Have a nice whatever. Thank you again for watching. Check out my other stuff. Entirely up to you if you want to subscribe, and it's entirely up to you if you want to like this video. It's a free internet for now.